What's going on, ladies and gentlemen? Welcome back to the Fringe. Canada's cooked. We're done. Bankruptcy is going to hit. Stocks are going to plummet. And I know people hate Fringe. It's bad news. It's doom and gloom. This is reality. This is what the people like the Brampton Boomer voted for when we just had our last federal election. Remember when everybody said elbows up? Mark Carney was going to fight Donald Trump. Mark Carney was going to stick it to Donald Trump and stand for Canada, buy Canadian, Team Canada, yada, yada, yada. Now we're at a real crossroads because Donald Trump has just come out today to say, basically, sweeping tariffs are now going to hit Canada. We're going to rush them across. They're going to be sweeping tariffs. We're not trading with Canada any longer. With that coming in, I want to focus on his tweet that he had out on Truth Social. Here is Gunther putting out, holy crap, Trump just cut off Canada from any trade negotiations. Have fun in a recession. We are hereby terminating all discussions on trade with Canada effective immediately. Okay, we're doing it effective immediately, folks. I know people hate it when I bring Trump into the videos, but I gotta tell you, I like it. I like doing it a lot. I have a lot of fun. I don't know if you've noticed this. I enjoy talking like Donald Trump. I'm even waving my hands around. You can't see it on the camera, okay? We have just been informed that Canada, a very difficult country to trade with, including the fact that they have charged our farmers as much as 400% tariffs for years on dairy products, has just announced that they are putting a digital service tax on our American technology companies, which is a direct and blatant attack on our country. They are obviously copying the European Union. Again, Mark Carney selling us out to Europe this week, which has done the same thing and is currently under discussion with us also. Based on this egregious tax, we are hereby terminating all discussions on trade with Canada effective immediately. We will let Canada know the tariff that they will be paying to do business with the United States of America within the next 7-day period. Thank you for your attention on this matter. Sorry, didn't scroll down for that. We're cooked. It's over. I know people hate those two words, it's over, because other channels have abused those two words, but I don't really see a part here where Canada benefits moving forward. What's Mark Carney going to say? By the way, he went on vacation, folks. He worked for 17 days and decided to piss off for 2.5 months while Canadians foot the bill and cover up the costs of his mistakes. This is what we're in for over the next 4 years. Is it still bad that provinces across the country are talking about secession from the federal government? Can anybody understand now why other provinces, like the western portion of Canada, are talking about standing up and getting the hell out, that they're finished? They can't do this anymore. We can't stay in this abusive relationship. I know people get tired of me saying that, but this is the question I have to ask everybody is, are you not in the same position even if you're watching from other parts of the country? This is the stupidity of our federal government. And everybody said, hey, Carney's at least not Trudeau. And everybody who voted for him, I should say, said he's not Trudeau. He's not, as bad. He's doing some things. But the reality is that Trudeau was operating on wokeism. He was virtue signaling at every opportunity he could get. Carney just passes the same bad policies as he does. He's just not as woke and as unattentive, we'll say, as Justin Trudeau. The problem here is you mess with the bull, you get the horns. I want to focus on a news briefing that came out as to what exactly is happening with these tariffs. Let's take a look. I'm going to play that over here. I'm speechless. I'm virtually speechless at this point because I don't know what Canada's going to do. Mark Carney will not have a solution for this. You'll hear Melanie Jolie will probably come out and say something really stupid. You'll have Carney's lackeys coming out and saying something really stupid. Okay? But things are about to get considerably worse in Canada. If you don't think so, please tell me in the comments how. Take a listen to this.
He's pointing to the fact that Canada is looking into this digital services tax. This is something that the White House has long been against when it comes to countries that impose them. Normally it comes up in our discussions about those European Union member nation states, but we do know that this is something that has been at the top of the list for the White House with Canada too. And we should keep in mind that Canada is sort of on a different sort of negotiating track. They weren't up against that July 9th deadline because we had already seen those tariffs go into effect before so-called Liberation Day, that 25% tariff across the board. So now President Trump says that he's going to put into effect a rate in the next 7 days, and we're going to have to see what that actually ends up coming to fruition, what that would look like, because there's a lot of different factors when it does come into the negotiations with Canada, including those sector-specific tariffs. Our original understanding of the Section 232 tariffs was that they weren't going to be part of the broader tariff conversation, such as on autos or on steel, but perhaps that could play some sort of role here going forward, since we know that is something that Canada had been pushing on, but at the moment it seems like this White House is stopping all negotiations.
So ideally, Mark Carney has shown that his argument with Liz Truss, or that the warning that Liz Truss gave us, is perfectly valid. As she said, Mark Carney destroyed the Bank of England. He will do the same to Canada. Do not elect him as your prime minister. Remember, Cian Bexte from Juno News interviewed her on Trump's inauguration day, and she gave that swift warning to Canadians that, hey, you don't want this guy. He's bad news. Yet, if you remember back to election season, we showed Rebel News out and around in Nepean, surveying people, and you saw these old 60-something-year-olds with their investment portfolios saying, well, I got investments in Brookfield, so I could care less what the rest of the country thinks. I just want my stock portfolio to go up. How's that working out for you? How's that working out for you now that Canada's dollar is about to go less far than it ever has before? A number of the products that we bring in from the United States are about to get charged through the nose. People are going to lose their jobs. Everything's going to burst. In fact, if I go to the full page of this YouTube, you'll notice over here how the corporate government arm is already covering for Carney, the CBC, or as Preston Manning called him earlier this week on the channel when we interviewed him, the Carney Broadcasting Corporation, is saying, how much will Canada's digital service tax cost U.S. tech companies? So they're already covering to say, hey, what's Mark Carney going to do for Canada? Elbows up, everybody. How's that working out for Canadians so far? We are in a mess, ladies and gentlemen. The snowball is just starting to roll down the mountain. The avalanche is on its way forward. I don't like going full doom and gloom. But anybody who had any hope that things might somewhat be livable in this country, buckle up, because they're about to get significantly worse. I don't know what we're going to do in this country anymore. Mark Carney showing that he's completely negligible already as leader of this country. This is why we needed Pierre Poilievre to be prime minister. I really, really, really hope that the folks who voted in Mark Carney in Southern Ontario, when they can't afford food, when they can't afford to keep their lights on, when they got to hire the help that they've got doing their gardening and everything else, I sure hope they suffer immensely and live to regret the stupid, stupid decision they made by putting this man in office. Let me know what you guys think down below in the comments. If it's your first time here, I hope this video has earned your subscription. Make sure as you hit that button, you join me live tonight here on the channel at 6 p.m. Pacific, 8 p.m. Central for Friday Night Fringe, our weekly live streaming show where I'll be joined by the beautiful Mrs. Fringe. We'll definitely be talking about this. We'll be talking a lot about Mark Carney tonight and everything that's happened this week in Canadian politics. Again, 6 p.m. Pacific, 8 p.m. Central here on the channel, and every Friday at that time. With that, ladies and gentlemen, I hope you enjoyed this video. I hope you have a great rest of your day. I'll catch you on the next one.